Major crimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
All right. Oh, welcome, Commissioner Strickland.
Right on time.
Right on time. Welcome to all the commissioners that are here tonight. I appreciate everybody being here, giving us your time and your energy. So with this, I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Redevelopment Commission for April. Mr. Huff, can we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Sharon C. Bryant.
Here.
Jimmy Dillahunt.
Here.
Sarah Proctor.
Here.
Leander Mergen.
I am here.
Steve Strickland.
Here.
Julius Parham.
Here.
Kip Paraguay.
Here.
Beth Walker.
Here.
Tabari Wallace. Rick Prill. Barbara Best. Hazel Royal. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you. The first order of business is our agenda for the evening. Hope everybody's had a chance to look at it. If there's no exceptions, can I get a motion to accept the agenda, approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries, and we will move forward with the agenda as it is presented. We also need to consider approving the minutes from our last meeting, which was in March. They were also in your packet. Are there any concerns that people would like to discuss or any changes? And if not, can I have a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a double second. So, unless there's any discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? So the meeting minutes from March are also approved. At this point in time, our next order of business is to read our mission statement and our guiding principles. Tonight I'm going to read the mission statement, and then I'm going to send it your way for our goals, our guiding principles. Okay, so our mission statement is the New Bern Redevelopment Commission, leading the way for community transformation and improvement by directly addressing community needs in the vital areas of public health, infrastructure, housing, and economic development. The Commission is committed to an accountable, transparent, and publicly driven process.
Past, present, future, equal time.
Respect others' opinions.
Listen to build consensus.
Do you have yours, Mr. Dillon?
Share accurate information
okay.
and public perception.
Perfect. Okay.
Stay focused, be action oriented.
Believe.
And believe. All right. Right on. So now we have the next item on our agenda is public comment. We have 4 minutes for public comment if there is someone interested in speaking. Are you here to speak or just attend? Just attend. Okay. So no one is here to speak. We will look then at item number 7, which is new business, and that is the residential energy efficiency program proposal. It was also in your packets. Do you want to explain it, Zeb, or do you want me to?
Actually, Commissioner Morgan is going to give a little presentation to the commission, and I'll give the floor to Commissioner Morgan.
Take it away, Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, and I will be cognizant of the time. Good evening, Chair, fellow commissioners, and members of the public. I'd like to present a proposal for your consideration, a resident energy efficiency program, which I believe should become an official initiative of the Redevelopment Commission, funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program. This initiative is designed to support low to moderate income households in New Bern, both homeowners and renters, by reducing energy burden, improving home comfort, and helping residents make informed choices about their energy use. Here's how the program would work. We would hold 2 community education seminars led by the City of New Bern departments to teach practical energy saving strategies and connect residents to resources. Attendees of the seminar would be eligible for up to $500 in minor energy-related home repairs or upgrades. We aim to serve 75 households in the first year. The key proposed partnerships would include the Coastal Community Action to conduct the professional energy audits for participating homes. The second one would be Habitat for Humanity. They would explore a workforce implementation partnership for repairs and installations. The third would be city departments, which would lead the community education and outreach efforts. The total proposed budget for the program is $40,000, covering audits, repairs, education, and the administration. This effort aligns with our mission to strengthen neighborhoods, promote housing stability, and reinvest in our local community. I believe this program will deliver measurable impact, especially for those facing high energy bills and limited access to weatherization services. So, today I'm seeking 2 things: the support of the Commission to adopt this as an official initiative eligible for CDBG funding, and number 2, to gain volunteers from this body to help form a project team that will work with staff to finalize program design, coordinate partnerships, and prepare for implementation. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions and welcome your support. The one thing that I do want to reiterate is that it used to be for home occupied ownership. This now will apply to renters as well.
Okay, thank you for that information. That's a lot of information to give in a brief time. I appreciate you
Thank you.
laying that out so clearly for us.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to say I heard about this grant. Where's it coming from directly?
The grant would directly be coming from, and I'm going to yield to Zeb to help me out with this one to make sure that I answer it, to make sure that it's answered properly.
So the Community Development Block Grant is a city entitlement grant that the city gets, and so basically this would give the commission authorization to apply for those funds and give us the opportunity to be awarded those funds. And so this is a request to apply for those funds.
So we were asking the city?
CDBG, yep.
Asking the city, okay. But they come before the city council?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
This would be part of their annual action plan for next year.
Okay, okay.
So our participation in this is requesting that these funds, that we would implement this and be in charge of organizing, kind of working with the city staff for this part of the project. It sounded like other people would be doing the energy audits and the construction.
Absolutely. To use some old hat language, we would be the mastermind and the coordination behind the effort. But we would put experts to work in their field of expertise to conduct everything from energy audits to doing the education pieces. So no one around this dais is energy efficiency expert. I certainly am not. But we have staff that works for the city, and they do a really, really good job serving the city. And this would be us providing a platform for our residents to have access to our city staff that is that has expertise in these things, so that they can get really good education, to be empowered to take better care of themselves. And it's incentivized through CDBG funds. And so I echo Commissioner Morgan's statements. It's a really good opportunity, and I think it has some really good bones with the right project team behind it and the right partnerships driving it.
Well, we have often discussed here the opportunity to provide knowledge, to help education in our redevelopment boundaries, and we've really not had the right means to do so. So this sounds like it's a way for us to put that into play.
Absolutely.
This would also be one of the first programs that will put us in direct contact with the community and with some of those that need this service, and it will put us into homes to where they can see what the Redevelopment Commission is actually doing.
Absolutely.
And I also have another question.
Yes, sir.
What type studies, or just a quick quote, has been done on this since you've done such a well presentation on it?
What I've done is I have...
Where did you get that info from, and what can you do with $500? That's why I'm asking the question.
The $500 will go toward upgrades as it relates to the audits that have come back from the city. When the city goes in and when they see that maybe some doors need to be leveled, some additional weather stripping, some windows, they will make the determination on what will help to make the homes energy efficient. And what we're still doing is we're still in the planning phase of this, but we do know that the city will be instrumental in going into the homes, and they will be the ones that will be making the determination on how to make the homes energy efficient. And then they will bring it back to us, and then that's when we, am I correct, Mr. Huff? That's when we will go and we will run it past the Board of Aldermen to make, well, we've already run it past them, but the city themselves will determine on up to $500 what would be able to be done. There's a lot that can be done with weatherizing a home as it relates to spending $500.
I do want to make one small distinction, and it's an important one, just because it's material to the funding. So when we're talking about property rehab, we're talking about putting equity into the home, which adds value to the home, which in the past is why we haven't been able to do housing rehab projects for renter-occupied houses, because literally that would be using public funds to invest in someone else's property who's not living there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
These are minor repairs to enhance the quality of life for the person living in the house without affecting the equity of the house.
Now, can you also explain how is it now that we're able to include renters and not just the owner-occupied dwellings?
Correct, because what we're affecting is the quality of life for the person living in the house. So when we, so to your point, when we add weather stripping around a window, a landlord is not going to be able to charge more for rent because we put weather stripping on a window. However, a utility bill will be decreased, and a renter won't have to pay that in their utility bill. And so the only person who benefits from this is the actual consumer, who is the beneficiary, who is the low to moderate income individual, the cost burden individual who we're allowed to help by general statute.
Did I understand correctly that the participants of the seminars are the only ones that will be eligible for the upgrades?
That's correct.
You must participate in an educational seminar to get the upgrade funding.
Yes, this model is an empowerment incentive program. And so without the educational component, there's no sustainability there. So We don't want to just put weather stripping on people on people's windows. We want to teach people how to sustain these practices so that it's not just one utility bill that gets better, but it's actually how to better utilize your utilities long term. So.
And I do have one more question. Now, are you a spokesperson for ZEB, or this is your idea, and who done the studies as far as what the folks would actually need?
This was a program that was
I'm
brought.
just
No, that's fine. This was a program that was brought to my attention, and in its in my infancy in it, I have read over it. I was asked tonight. I was not originally going to make this presentation until I read a little bit more over it. But I am a proponent of it in terms of trying to help to lower this energy bill here in the city. So to answer your question, no, I have not done the homework on it, but I will be researching it, and I would like to be a part of helping to bring it into fruition.
Right, so it sounds like you're wanting to be on the project group if we move forward with this.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Steve, you have a question?
So I've heard some references to another program of the sort that's more homeowner focused. So are we piggybacking off of that, or are we going to do a stand up our own version of things?
This would be our own version of a program that does exist elsewhere. And it would be more accurate to say that we're piggybacking off of Duke's program, actually. Duke does a similar program in its service area. Same incentive, same model, and it's been very, very helpful and very, very successful.
Okay, so would we be targeting renters in the equation, or would it be both, or could we somehow, some way, if we get owners, funnel them into another program that's already there? Or how would that look? I'm just trying to, if we're going to do it, try to maximize dollars. If there's already a program stood up that we could piggyback off of, say if the city's got something similar to this, can we steer homeowners into that and we handle the renters, if that's the goal?
I'm not sure, so I can't speak to what else will be in the annual action plan for CDBG next year. I'm only aware of this program. I know that housing rehab has been a program of CDBG in the past. I don't know and can't say whether it will be in the future.
Okay. Now, the CBDG funding, is this an amount that would come out of the portion that is, I don't want to say earmarked for us, but has tentatively already been eyeballed for us, or is this coming from a different pot?
We're requesting different pot, but they might tell you take it out your own pot.
Well, I guess the best way to answer that is currently we have not sold 911 Eubanks, so there is no earmarked pile.
There's no pot.
Okay.
So this would be the annual entitlement that we'd be asking for.
All right. So just thinking through what things look like process-wise, who specifically is going to be in charge of picking who gets awarded hey, we're going to come spend $500 on your house? Is that going to be members of this commission? Is it going to be first come, first served?
Absolutely not. So we are not CDBG experts. I think we are all aware of that by now. And so we're going to leave CDBG experting to the CDBG experts. And CDBG staff will monitor this program should they adopt this program, should they award these funds to this program. What happens in an energy audit is is done and a checklist is generated. And they say, here's a prioritization list of what would help your house be energy efficient. Here's the top 10 things. And then here's what it would take to get the top 10 things done. And if you go down that list and up to $500 you have to spend, you can pick off of that list what you want done. And then you can work with the partner who does the work clear that with CDBG. The partner who does the work will do the work, and then CDBG will come in to make sure the work is done. Therefore, their monitoring is done, and then they'll reimburse the partner who did the work, and then the case is closed. So every person who comes to the seminar, up to 75 households, and if we track participation even generally correctly, we're being pretty ambitious with 75 households. But up to 75 households, $40,000 will give us $500 per household pretty easily. So everyone who participates should be able to get up to a $500 award.
Okay, and one last question. Just thinking through some of the concerns that we've heard from renters in the area in general.
Sure.
Is there something in place to make sure there are no unintended consequences from a city staff member walking into a rental dwelling that may have much more substantial issues than what a energy efficient audit would discover, that we can ensure these people can be promised that you're not going to be out of an apartment because it's condemned because of XYZ being wrong with it?
How I would answer that is that the people who are doing the energy audit are not minimal housing inspectors. They are not ordinance or nuisance and abatement enforcers. They are weatherization energy audit professionals. Their job is to come in and tell you what it would take to make your house energy efficient. They are there to do a job. They will do the job, and they will leave your house.
I think you're going to have that speech ready to repeat several times as the process goes forward.
I may have practiced it once or twice for tonight.
And you've answered a lot of questions, but do you still have a question?
Steve asked the questions that
Okay.
I wanted. Who was going to do the paperwork? We all know what the paperwork looks like with the CBDG form and the administration and the qualification processes and everything. And I just wanted to make sure that that was going to be handled through the city's administrator of those funds rather than through our executive director or us.
Believe me, I'm in favor of CDBG doing the paperwork.
Just want to be sure.
I have another comment.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, this was a meeting I missed, and I'm saying that for the simple reason, look like everything is in place, and how would that $500 determine, and what do you think can be done for that $500 with it being labeled out to someone? I'm in a realistic world, and maybe I'm out of line. But the question, I know what you can do with $500 when it comes to weatherizing the house. So where did this idea, where did this lead, where did this price, other than what Mr. Morgan discussed? I mean, was it pre-planned? Was it discussed before? And we just bring it in to get our, I guess, okay or amen, or actually, where did it come from? And where did $500 come from? Maybe I'm out of line. But
I mean,
just
as
need
an
some clarity.
example,
Please. And I'm not getting the answers or the thought that I have. And I don't know who I need to address that to. Maybe I address it to the board so they can answer. But I don't want everybody coming and saying, oh, I just want to know where did this idea come from and where did the $500, where was that determined? And I know Trend River, they had that program and they were doing energy efficient houses. So is that something 2 or 3 people came up with, something you came up with? They'll let Mr. Morgan present it. And don't think I'm not down in the program. But for $500, why couldn't it be $1,000 and try to get more done to the house other than maybe weather stripping, some rags crammed in a corner? And I know actually what $500 can do to a house.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I know exactly what $500 can do to a house. Not much.
Mr. Dillahunt, you make a great point. I would say what Mr. Morgan proposed to the commission tonight was a bare bones proposal. Nothing at all is written in stone. This is a proposal. So what I would suggest is if you feel as though you have some expertise and some knowledge base in this kind of a program and you would like to be involved, what I think I hear, Madam Chair, is Mr. Dillahunt volunteering to be on the project team so that he can help flesh out this project so that we have a stronger proposal going to CDBG so that we can be effective in this program.
Before, and I can correct, I wouldn't just say, okay, I want to get in the program. I want to know the roots of the program. Where did you come from? Where did it originate from? Okay.
I've already answered that.
You answered indirectly with $500.
The Duke.
And what do you think?
Well, let me say it slower so you can hear me. The Duke Corporation does the same exact program in their service base. I took their template and utilized it for our proposal. That is where this came from. This is the same exact program. That is where it came from. $500 is what Duke uses. That is what I read. That is where it came from. Okay, I don't know how much slower I can say it or how much more direct I can be. I've said that 3 times now, sir.
Madam Chair, perhaps I can be helpful as well. As I understand it, I think some of the consternation about the $500 allocation is reflecting upon the fact that the cost of goods and services is increasing almost daily, if not even faster than that. And I hear that perhaps Mr. Dillahunt may have some concerns about how far those resources will go given the current market conditions. So I have it in my mind, and I might be incorrect, and Mr. Huff can correct me,
sure,
that it might be important to bear in mind what those funds are actually being utilized for. There are a number of partners that may be involved if this is an idea that you want to continue to explore, and those partners, if I'm not mistaken, may be providing the labor associated with this program at no cost to the commission or to the applicant. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's what I had in mind.
Okay.
Correct.
So if the commission is not going to be responsible for labor costs and the entire allocation, whatever you all determine it to be, goes towards material costs, then that might help us have a better appreciation for how this program could pencil in the event that you want to continue to explore the idea, which I think what Mr. Morgan has asked for this evening is whether the commission has any appetite for such a program. If the answer to that is yes, then I think he's asking for some of his fellow commissioners to work alongside him to flesh out this concept all the more. You all have raised some great questions. There are no documents in place. There are no MOUs. There are no formal agreements with any of the partner agencies. All of that work would be undertaken after this meeting if you all have any appetite to move forward at all.
And that's pretty much exactly what Mr. Morgan was. It was basically reading and putting some raw material out to generate some conversation and generate some questions so that we could entertain what some of the issues may be, what some of the problems may be, and what some of the questions are. Mr. Dillahunt raised some very good questions. Steve has asked some very good questions, and those were things that I had not even thought about since I did start reading it. But the reason why it had been brought up, it was not to say, hey, let's go ahead and implement this now. It was, as council says, to let's see if the commissioners have an appetite to take it any further to see if it's something that would be viable for us. It'd be something that we would have an appetite to entertain. And still, I would definitely want to have those questions that Steve asked to be answered and make sure that they've been answered properly, because those are answers that I did not have questions. Those were questions that I didn't have the answers to.
And to that end, Counselor, is this an item that we are seeking a resolution to move forward with, or are we directing staff to continue work? sounds like we need commission involvement to move forward. So would that require a resolution?
So I don't think a resolution is in your package tonight. I think what you might do is undertake a vote to see, do you want to establish a project team to further flesh out this concept? If you're inclined to establish a project team, then that will indicate, yes, we want to explore this opportunity further. If you're not inclined to establish a project team, then a majority of the members don't have an appetite for the project.
Thank you.
And then my next question is, as in terms of a time limitation, is this, seems like it's kind of a, something that needs to be done relatively quickly, not a year-long process of a team working?
I would defer to Mr. Huff about the timeline for the CDBG annual action plan. I know that is presented to the board, and from Mr. Huff's comments and Mr. Morgan's comments, I would assume that you would want to have this project pretty well fleshed out before the annual action plan is presented to the Board of Aldermen. Additionally, as you all have experienced, CDBG is a very tentacled creature. So you want to have opportunity to make sure that you're communicating with the consultants and city staff that are experts in CDBG to make sure that what you are contemplating will actually work on the ground. And we try to anticipate as many curveballs as we can at the outset.
So once again, the time frame, do you have an idea of when the action plan would need to be?
Yes, so CDBG is moving forward in formalizing their action plan, and so before our May meeting, we would certainly need to know if this is something we would want to pursue. We don't have to have the nuts and bolts figured out right now, but we would definitely want to know if we are applying so that we could put forth a pretty strong application. I have given a letter of interest to CDBG, just letting them know so that we could run it up the flagpole on an administrative level to see if this was even possible, so that I've done all the due diligence so that we can make a proposal that was not possible. So we have run this up the flagpole. We have done our homework. We've spoken to CDBG staff and consultants. And so we're pretty certain that this is a viable project, which is why we're bringing it to you all tonight.
Okay. Yes.
I would just like to say I appreciate staff sort of and whoever helped you identify this, if it was a board member, but for going above and beyond and thinking outside the box. This is as you said, empowerment incentive model to help, renters, which is not somebody we've historically been able to help. I'm pretty disappointed by the hostility of Mr. Dillahunt in particular towards a program. It seems like you're saying if it's not this big number, if it's not enough, then why even bother? Why wasn't I told about this? That's a really negative attitude to have towards something. We're trying to balance helping people, but we're not allowed to add equity to their home because it's not their home, they're renting it. So I really didn't appreciate the hostility towards staff and everything else, and I think this is great and would fully support it.
Well, excuse me, I didn't say that for you to appreciate it. That was my opinion, and I'm pretty sure you just speaking your opinion, so watch how you accuse some of the board members. That's your prerogative, what you say, but...
Point of order, Madam Chair.
This is mine. This is my opinion.
Yep, okay. I'm going to stop this discussion right now because we're not going to argue about it.
Oh, no, I'm not arguing.
I agree that it is a program that is worthy of our consideration. I've heard I've heard in-depth questions that show people's interest. I'm not going to, I'm just going to say, I would like to know who would like to be involved in this and if we would like to move forward with it.
So, Madam Chair, it may be appropriate at this juncture, if we're bringing it into the landing, to entertain a motion to establish a project team for the energy program.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Of interest, okay. I have a motion. And what is your motion? That we establish a project team?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to establish a project team. I feel like we've had a lot of discussion around this. So I'd like to just get a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, the motion carries. And I don't know if you want to take time at this time or
She is the director.
talk to you afterwards if you're interested in being a part of the team. You know, if people would like to get in touch with you directly.
Oh, yeah, please reach out and we'll coordinate our inaugural meeting to sort of flesh this out. So,
Good deal.
great. I look
Okay,
forward
so
to talking to everybody.
commissioners are responsible for reaching out to our executive director if you would like to be included on this project team. All right. Thank you for bringing that, Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you.
Not as exciting, but it might be. I shouldn't say that. But let's go. Whole business might be exciting. We're going to start with project team report on West A Street.
That you Kip?
That's me.
Well, that A Street got you going, didn't it?
It got to go in circles. The project team met recently. Mr. Bill Hunt and Zeb and I got together, and we're still waiting for a final plat from the surveyor. He's had several renditions sent to us, and we've needed some additional dimensions added to it, so we really know what we're doing. The whole crux of the thing is, as we talked last time, is the impact that the expanded railroad right-of-way has had on the parcel, as well as the abandoned city right-of-way. It's caused some, took a nice rectangular piece of property and made it a truncated rhombus almost. So anyhow, we're still waiting on that. Best we can determine, we're going to have about 187 feet of frontage to work with, which we can probably generate 4 to 5 lots out of if we were to go with a plan that had 40-foot wide single-family lots. But at the same time, we had a good discussion about different models that we might approach with this piece of property, where we look at something like what's done in Broomfield, where we get put a parcel out there that we haven't subdivided, so that the developer could subdivide it to meet his program. Or we could do various and sundry models of things that could be done with the piece of property. We're in discussion about that and trying to determine what model works best with that particular property once we get it all fleshed out of what we really have, because we can't pursue other partnerships until we can present, this is what you got to work with.
Right.
And we're not there yet, quite yet. We are talking and seeking partners that might be interested in that parcel of land to create housing opportunities. And for the next meeting, we hope to have a final plat to present to the commission. We would like to be able to also finalize our opinion, the working group's opinion, of what model works best with that parcel of property, whether it be building single-family homes, getting a partner of some kind to work with it, a private developer, maybe Habitat. I mean, all different things are out there that we have the opportunity to look at once we know what we have. And we just think that finding the right partner on that parcel of land is going to be the best way to go at it, and we'll present all that, hopefully be able to present all that next month at the meeting.
Okay. Any questions for the team? All right. Thank you for that update. Next on our update list is the 911 Eubanks Street property. And will you be updating on that?
Yes, I have an
Mr.
update.
Proctor? Okay.
The Eubanks team met. We had a couple of calls, and we unfortunately, it was Tabari, Zeb, and me. We unfortunately did not get a qualifying bid through the sealed bid process. We did get some paperwork, but unfortunately it was not a qualifying bid. But we are not giving up. We are we've formulated some ideas. We're rolling our sleeves up, and we think that probably the best way to put a qualifying family in this property is to engage with the people in the community and groups directly, certain like realtor groups and the different community groups, the People's Assembly and Residents Council, and so we've already started working on a plan, and we're going to meet a few more times basically to implement going to the various meetings, so the Realtor Association meetings, or even presenting to like the bigger realty offices to say, we have this property that we can't list on the market in the standard way, but so we're putting together some presentations. Definitely, if you all, any commissioner knows somebody that would be interested in having us, we're developing a packet of information, sort of like a realtor, like you would see online with the pictures and the stats for the property, and the CDBG sort of checklist, because we know this property doesn't. This is kind of why it can't be sold on the open market, or not why, but it's probably good that it can't be sold on the open market because it comes with the lien if it's if the person doesn't live there. So our hope is to get all that done and the meetings done in the next month, possibly 2 months. Month is always ambitious. And then come back to the commission, hopefully around the June timeframe, to request or to sort of give our, what we've done, where we're at, and request to hopefully go into the sealed bid process again, assuming we get some interest from all the work we put in the meantime. So that's the current idea. I think this property just needs a little more hand-holding for whatever reason. So,
and what it sounds like is you're looking to provide more information, more education before the sealed bid process.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was the we got paperwork, but it was just not. So I think if we can get the folks who are interested in the door, we can meet with them, and even their realtors, and kind of educate them on it, then we can make sure they know exactly what steps go into purchasing, putting in the sealed bid and purchasing the property.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Any questions for the 9/11 project team? Excuse me. Then I guess we'll move to our next agenda item, which is our staff report.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have 3 items tonight. They just so happen to be 3 really big items. Well, 1 small item and then 2 big items. How's that? The first is the finance report. I just want to make a note that our fund balance stands at $834,978. That is the outcome of 2 expenditures over the last month. One was $556 spent in utilities through the city of New Bern, and the other was $686.50, which was the payment for our insurance premium. So we're holding steady. We are where we're supposed to be. I do want to put into your hearing that we are nearing the end of our fiscal year. And so as we near the end of our fiscal year, any of those annual expenses that we put into the budget for things such as marketing or memberships or land modifications, I think of the West A Street project team, we certainly want to think about paying the surveyor rather soon, expeditiously, provided they give us receivables, deliverables, so that we can close out the year strong and we can open the new fiscal year as planned. So we're holding strong and we're in a good financial place. Does anyone have any questions as far as the financial report goes?
What did you say about the surveyor? I didn't get that.
Sure. As soon as we just want to push along that process so that we can pay the surveyor before July 1st, so that we can close out this fiscal year without carrying over that expense.
Okay. The bill of the surveyor.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. With that said, my Second item on the staff report this evening is an update on the 10 parcels conveyed by Craven County. Madam Chair, members of the commission, many of you will remember in February 2023, the commission was conveyed 10 parcels in alignment with our redevelopment plan, and our job was to utilize these parcels within 5 years, concluding in February 2028. Any parcels that remain unused or undeveloped by that date are subject to automatic reversion back to the county. Here are things as they stand today. One of the parcels, being 209 Bryan Street, was successfully sold on April 4th of this year, or last year rather. Another parcel, 708 West A Street, is currently in development for sale with our West A Street project. 5 parcels on 2nd Avenue are part of the Avenues project, which you are all familiar with. That leaves us with 3 parcels. That's 821 West Street, 908 Eubanks Street, 912 Eubanks Street, which currently remain inactive. However, they are under internal review for potential inclusion in further development or community space for strategies. So to summarize, we have 1 parcel sold, 6 that are either under development or included in development plans, and 3 that are in need of a clear path forward. With that in mind, I'd like to make a recommendation to the Commission. I believe now is the right time to formalize a prioritization framework for these parcels, especially the ones still awaiting a development strategy. Establishing a framework will help ensure we're staying aligned with both the reversion timeline and the goals of our redevelopment plan. I'd also recommend that the Commission consider forming project teams to support the prioritization effort, small groups of the commissioners and staff who can help drive planning, outreach, and partner engagement for the remaining sites. This is a great opportunity for us to be proactive, strategic, and transparent as stewards of these properties, and I look forward to continuing the work with you all. I'm happy to answer any questions about the 10 parcels conveyed by the county at this point.
Let's go ahead, Beck.
Okay. Once again, I hear your suggestion that we form project teams to get started on especially the last 3 projects.
Yeah.
Parcels.
Yeah. What I've learned since June 2022, which is when I started with you all, is time flies. Mm-hmm. February 28th is going to be here in no time flat, and so I think it's prudent for the Commission just to have someone watching these 10 parcels, because the very last thing we want to do is for February 2028 to pop around and for our inventory of parcels just to be 9 less because we weren't watching our inventory and we weren't prioritizing well. So that's just a recommendation. There is no time urgency on that matter. I think I was given direction 2 meetings ago to look at the 10 parcels, and so I'm just following through on that direction that was given. So unless you all have discussion, I'll go to my 3rd item, which is a little bit more in depth.
All right. Move ahead to number 3.
All right. The 3rd item I'd like to present tonight is a recommendation regarding the expansion of the redevelopment overlay as it regards the relaxed setback provision. As it stands today, the city ordinance allows reduced setbacks, that is, less space required between the buildings and the property lines, and only the parcels zoned in R6 within the redevelopment overlay. These relaxed setbacks serve an important purpose. They help reduce development costs, encourage infill construction, and better match historic urban form in neighborhoods like the 5 Points area. Simply put, they make it easier to build homes in a way that's affordable, attractive, and context sensitive. However, under the current ordinance, only properties with an R6 zoning designation qualify for these benefits. Even in similar residential uses, these are not available. So in zoning designations such as C3, where residential uses are permitted, but it's a commercial zone, they cannot utilize our relaxed setbacks. As I review the redevelopment plan, the choice neighborhood plan, all the way back to the 1996 plan, I really do believe the spirit of all of these plans has been to target the use of residential development and to attract residential development to our district. And so I think that by relaxing these setbacks according to use instead of according to zone designation will actually help attract that kind of development on a broader scale. I think it will help throughout the district. One of the corridors where this will be most important, where it will be most visible, is the Main Street corridor, which we're all very, very familiar with. That's currently zoned C3 and C4. And so as we see development happening through there, we want to make it easy. We want to make it attractive. We want to offer whatever incentives we can for residential development to happen in those places. And so tonight, what you have before you is three things. First is a resolution for the commission to permit me, as your staff and representative, to go before the Planning and Zoning Board and ask them to reduce the setbacks to expand that setback relaxation for all residential uses. And then you have two options that our city attorney has prepared for us for how that can happen. And I'm going to ask her if she will kind of go through line by line, or however she chooses to do that for us, and explain the difference between the two options she's presented for us, so that we might generate some discussion and decide a way forward if you all decide that this is a good and credible way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Huff. Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Just want to clarify one point. When we're talking about relaxing the standards or expanding things as it relates to the redevelopment area, the physical redevelopment commission boundary will not change.
Correct.
So the streets, the blocks that are contained in your boundary will remain the same. The only change that is being contemplated tonight is where the reduced dimensional requirements will exist. So as you all know, in the R6 zoning designations within your boundary, the minimum lot size is 1,500 square feet. The minimum lot width is 25 feet. And the building setbacks are 15 front, 10 rear, 5 side. Okay, that's how they exist right now for R6. Within your boundary, you have multiple zoning districts. You have C4, R6, R10. There might be some C3 in some places. There's several that are within that boundary. One of the options before you tonight would allow those minimum lot size and dimensions, the setbacks, to apply to any lot, regardless of zoning district, that is being used for residential construction. By residential construction, we look at the table of permissible uses for the city, which includes single-family detached, single-family attached, duplex, multifamily, nursing homes. There are a lot of residential uses in the city of New Bern. So that's one option. The other option is to apply those reduced dimensional requirements to any lot within your boundary that is being used for single-family residential, duplex, or multifamily construction. So those other types of residential construction would not get the benefit of those reduced dimensional setbacks. So those are the two flavors. One anywhere in the boundary, so long as it's a residential use, understanding residential can mean lots of different things. And the other is allowing those reduced dimensional setbacks, requirements rather, for single-family residential, duplex, and multifamily only.
Which is really more of a traditional understanding of residential.
Correct, yes,
Correct.
ma'am.
Thank you for providing that clarification, because as our executive director said, I believe it's always been our goal to make it easier and to develop in land that has, if it was under the standard city sizes, would not be allowed to be developed because it'd be limited by the size.
Correct.
The setbacks and everything, it makes it undevelopable.
Or at least vastly more difficult to develop.
So are you going to present, you want to present one of the two, or are you going to present both of them and let the board decide which one they want to do? How's that?
We're looking for some direction from you all about which one of these versions
Okay.
you want to move forward with.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
If at all. You could say, we're happy with how things are, we don't want to change it.
I think, okay, that's a good summary. And I think I will open it up for discussion or questions. If you have those, I think you've laid it out pretty clearly to us, and I appreciate you giving us the legal ramifications of the two differences. What other concerns or questions that the board has?
Not to put you on the spot, but do you have any other examples of what are, like you said, did you say nursing facilities? Of like what's included in residential that we would think of as more commercial?
Yes.
Honestly.
So residential, give me just 1 second.
How would that affect a building where you had retail on the bottom and and residential on the second floor, like have been proposed at the Day's Insight sometimes?
C&I plan.
There's one on Pollock Street now.
I would argue, and my advice to staff would be, these, by spelling out that we specifically are talking about residential types of construction, mixed use is not residential.
Okay.
So if there's going to be a mixed use component, then it may be necessary to abide by more conventional dimensional standards. And to Commissioner Proctor's question, residential uses under the current table of permissible uses include single-family residential, single-family detached, single-family attached, duplex, multifamily, short-term rentals, homes for the handicapped or infirmed, boarding houses, elderly housing designed for independent living with separate housing units, hotels and motels, bed and breakfast, homeless shelters, homes emphasizing special services, treatment, or supervision, nursing homes, halfway houses, child care homes, various different classes of manufactured homes, not in our district but in other places, and home occupations.
Okay. That was very comprehensive. Pretty broad, okay. Good questions?
What is the difference in single-family attached versus a duplex or a multifamily?
That's a great question.
Detached.
Detached is fairly clear.
Single-family attached.
Single-family attached versus duplex. I guess if it's single-family attached and there's more than two, but less than four, so a triplex might be single-family attached.
Okay.
I thought that would fall into multifamily.
Multifamily is 4 units or more.
Okay, so we're basically talking about a triplex. Okay.
They get you in one little hole.
So,
Well, I would just like to say that I think the more definitive we can be in this process, the better that I would like it. And so that option,
Which one?
that, I don't know if it's one or two, but the one that defines of single-family residential, duplex, and multifamily, spells it out exactly what it is, and it limits what somebody might be able to try to wiggle around and utilize these reduced dimensions to accommodate something that we really don't like or wouldn't like. The more defined you can be and provide clarity for potential builders or developers or whatever, the better off we're going to be, in my opinion. So I would support that option that does that instead of lots.
It's important to remember that this is a minimum. So certainly a developer in contemplating their business model or their strategy can exceed these standards, but this is just expanding what the minimum threshold might be.
And this is really using the lot sizes that we've developed, and it was just for the R6 zoning designation. That was not intentionally just to be for R6, so this expands it for the other lots.
For the other zoning designations, provided the lots are being used for those specific residential uses, if you're inclined to agree with Mr. Paracord.
Okay, I have heard good discussion. Nobody looks very questioning.
Within the redevelopment area, as we found out recently also, there's additional overlays for architectural design. Do I remember that they had setback limits in them?
The Lawson Creek might, don't quote me. However, I think there's going to be some revisions to some of those overlays in the very near future.
Yeah, but I mean, that's in the Renew project you're talking about, or is that going to be done
Separately.
separately? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because the Renew might take a while.
Yes, sir.
I do have a comment if I can make it.
Yes, sir.
Maybe each individual lot may need to be identified as such if there's a setback, whatever needed, versus having a broad overlay of what Chip is talking about. We think about doing the whole, everything that's in our development area. Why not do it on an individual basis versus doing the whole area?
Well, and I think it could be determined on an individual basis, but it's allowed throughout the whole development area. So I think either Zeb or Kip had said earlier that it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. It's just, it gives the allowance for it.
I would support Kip's idea on the second one. Was it the second one?
I didn't number them.
The one that had
The specific one.
The specific one.
Yeah, the one that states single-family detached, scratch detached, but single-family residential, duplex, and multifamily construction.
Right, okay.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And is a motion to accept that resolution? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Just to
Motion?
clarify, I just want to make sure the record is clear. Mr. Parham has made a motion to adopt the resolution to propose the text amendment that allows single-family residential, duplex, and multifamily construction the benefit of the dimensional exceptions.
Yes.
Okay, and that was the second?
Was the second, no, but which one was that, though?
The first one.
That was the first one, that.
This is the one that limits the dimensions to residential uses that are specifically single-family residential, duplex, and multifamily only.
Specifically, okay.
Well, yeah.
And who was the second? I'm sorry.
Commissioner Proctor seconded it. So it's the specific resolution. So we have a motion and a second. Any additional questions before we take a vote? Do we need a roll call vote for this resolution?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, so the motion carries.
And just so you know, commissioners, the next steps are these. Based on your vote tonight, Mr. Huff is going to apply for a text amendment with the Planning and Zoning Board. They meet monthly. The Planning and Zoning Board will have a meeting to determine whether the text amendment that you have recommended is consistent with the city's land use plans and future land use and adjacent uses. If they find that the text amendment is reasonable and consistent, then the Board of Aldermen will conduct a public hearing where people in the community will have an opportunity to offer comments on the text amendment. And ultimately, the Board of Aldermen will determine whether this change will go into effect. So realistically, there's going to be several weeks before a resolution is determined, but at each one of those steps, I'm sure that the executive director will keep you in the loop. And as members of the public or as members of the commission, if you'd like to participate in any of those meetings to offer your comments or support, I'm sure that there will be opportunities for you to do so.
I'll take a moment of personal privilege and say, y'all know I don't like to show up by myself, right? All right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking at all of y'all, eye contact.
Thank you for that.
All right.
Is it during
the day?
No. Planning and zoning is 5:30 on the third Thursday of each month, and then the Board of Aldermen begins at 6.
Kip already
And if
remind
you-
me when you go to this stuff.
Can I bring
All right,
it?
definitely.
Yeah.
And my husband.
I was going to suggest if we could get some email reminders to that effect.
And when Madam Attorney gives me final renditions of the text amendments, we'll make sure that the commission gets them and you all get updates. The only other thing I have on my staff report tonight is that this is April. And as I mentioned earlier in my staff report, time flies. And so the commission year starts in August. And we have some commissioners that are rolling off this August. And believe it or not, with summer coming, August will be here much quicker than any of you are prepared for. And so with August coming, the commission needs to prepare itself for project team replacements. Mr. Paraguay is quitting on us. I'm not bitter.
It's the rule. It's the rules.
He's quitting, and so someone will need to step on West A Street project team so that Mr. Dillahunt isn't by himself. I believe Ms. Walker is also due, so we will be looking for a new chair to step up as well. And so please have that in mind. And with 2 vacancies also come 2 empty chairs. And so we'll be looking for 2 new commissioners. And so just be on the lookout, be in communication. And if you have any ideas, I'd love to have conversation with you. So that concludes my staff report. Thank you so much for bearing with me and for your awesome work. Thank you to all the project teams that worked so hard this month, all the phone calls, all the meetings. You guys are rock stars, and you're making a real difference. So, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Well, our item number 10 is closed session, which I will need a motion to go into because we have some property to discuss, and it is also project team. So there's update to be had and closed session to be gone into.
Madam Attorney is going to have to give us the verbiage.
Okay. So
The magic verbiage.
Can you give me the statute that says we can do that?
I absolutely can. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A5, to discuss the acquisition of real property.
Thank you so much for that. Nobody says it better than you. Can I get a motion to do that?
Make a motion.
Pro that statute?
Make
And we got a
to
motion.
go into closed session according to statute, whatever
North
she
Carolina
said.
General Statute 143, 318, 11A5.
That's it. That's it.
She could say that in her seat.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
All right.